Tonight on Joynews Prime, Greater Accra Regional Hospital begins investigations into allegations of medical negligence leading to the death of a woman. The medical director of the facility calls on her husband to provide more information. We'll also be hearing from daughter who talks about the last memories she shared with her late mother.
She was going. She was like, take care of the house. Then she hugged us and told us that she would be back. But she didn't come back.
Coronavirus kills 8 more people, taking the total death toll to 103. The deaths include a 24-year-old female with no comorbidity. And on election headquarters tonight, minority in parliament accuses government of deploying huge military officials into the voter region to harass eligible Ghanaian electorates from participating in the upcoming voter registration exercise.
Vocation whatsoever, the state has decided to deploy military personnel and platforms along our frontiers.
The Adansi Asokwa MP Katie Hammond responds to the minority. He says security officials are in the voter region to prevent foreigners from participating in the upcoming registration exercise.
2008, the second round, we had so much, 100,000 or so votes leading from Samils at the time of second round. The next round, one constituency, Katu South also, it cleared all the whatever we had. Where did they come from?
And we'll hear from some residents and also the voter regional minister coming up in business.
Coming up in business, 32 women in agri-centered organizations to benefit from.
That, we dedicate some funds to be able to empower them so that they will be encouraged to continue to do what they do.
We'll bring you more of that from our home of Sandra. And the Electoral Commission also says it is going ahead with the compilation of the voters' register following a Supreme Court approval. But there is still some opposition to this move.
Cannot be a situation where the Supreme Court has taken its time to adjudicate on this matter, made orders which are binding on the NDC and all citizens, and then another citizen will be prosecuting another matter in the lower court.
I wish he had not spoken about a matter that he knows very little about, because that matter doesn't involve the AG as a party.
My name is Gifty Ando Apia. We are live in our studios here in Kokomlimle on digital address GA09925539. We're live, also free to air on your digital television. Catch us on DSTV 421 Go TV 144. Please stay tuned. Welcome to the show. The Electoral Commission has indicated it is going ahead with the compilation of the voters' register following a Supreme Court approval that also excluded the use of the existing voters' ID card. There is, however, some opposition to this move from the quarters of the NDC MP Ernest Nogbe. He has a pending case against the Commission, which is to be heard at the High Court on Monday. He wants the High Court to rule that CI 126, which he says amended CI 91, does not give the EC the power to compile a new register. He intends to ask the High Court on Monday to stop the EC from compiling that register. Court correspondent Joseph Akable has the rest of the story.
The Supreme Court, in a unanimous decision on June 25, held that the EC can go ahead with the exercise in compliance with CI 126. Dr. Bamba is representing NDC MP Ernest Nogbe in the only case before the courts. The case filed at the High Court is a judicial review, asking that CI 126, which amended CI 91, does not give the EC the power to compile a new register. Deputy AG Godfrey Yeboah Dami on Thursday told Joynews nothing stops the EC from going ahead.
Now, the Supreme Court under Article 129 of the Constitution has the power to exercise all powers vested in any court at all. That we call it the residual jurisdiction, the residual power of the Supreme Court. They can exercise all powers that are lawfully vested in any court or tribunal in the country. So the Supreme Court, in the exercise of the powers conferred on it by the Constitution under Article 129, has made this consequential of this. And all courts are supposed to comply. I think the essence is quite clear, that there ought to be order in the administration of justice. There cannot be a situation where the Supreme Court has taken its time to adjudicate on this matter, made orders which are binding on the NDC and all citizens, and then another citizen will be prosecuting another matter in the lower court.
Dr. Aziz Bamba, who is represented by Shaman MP, however, disagrees.
His issue that we have presented is that there is an existing voters register under CI 91, compiled under CI 91, which has not been revoked. And that if a new voters register is compiled, we are going to have a situation of two registers. Whether or not our case will be upheld by the court is not something we have any control over. It will be for the court to determine. So all those who are interested in this matter and believe in the rule of law should leave this matter to the appropriate institutions who have the legal mind or authority to determine which side of an argument is proper and which one is not proper.
The case will be heard at the High Court on Monday.
Joseph Akabli with that report. The Electoral Commission says Ghanaian passport and a Ghana card alone does not guarantee the bearer a new voter ID during the upcoming registration exercise. Speaking to my colleague Latif Idrisu, Director of Electoral Services Dr. Sribo Kweku, said one will still have to defend his eligibility if his or her nationality is challenged by an EC official at the registration center. Dr. Sribo, however, assures all eligible Ghanaians will be registered.
We have strong collaboration between us, Ghana Health Service, and the security. So we are on it.
How many people are you expecting, in your estimation? How many people do you expect to register during this exercise?
We are targeting between 15 million and 16 million, all things being equal.
One of the cards you've put on the table is the cluster system of registering people at the various polling stations. How sure are we that whatever you are going to put up in this cluster system will respect the safety protocols of the COVID-19 so that we don't end up spreading the virus at the various registration centers?
But the cluster system just means that we are putting 5 polling stations together to be handled by one kit or team. But they will visit all the various polling stations within the cluster. So the clustering doesn't mean that we are bringing all the people belonging to the various polling station to one station. So what we are saying is that we are zoning, clustering them into 5 per team. So when you have 5 polling stations, A, B, C, D, and E, then they will be assigned to one team. So what the team will do is that they will go to A polling station, handle them for 6 days. Then they'll go to B police station, handle them for 6 days. Then they'll go to C, 6 days, D, 6 days, 5, 6 days.
But in this particular instance of getting this registration exercise done, you don't have the buy-in of all the political parties.
If you were in Ghana in 2016, did you get the buy-in of all the political parties? It has never been. So any serious political party can have an idea about the provisional register. Because if you are talking on 30 days, you put all of them together, that's the number of people who register. So clearly you should have an idea about the people who have registered. Now when it comes to exhibition, you are there. People can challenge, object to a name on the rest. Even during the election time, one thing that I want to put on record is that having Ghana card, having a passport, coming with guarantors, does not mean that it cannot be challenged.
CI 126 says you need either a Ghana card or a passport to get a new voter's ID.
The CI 126 does not throw away CI 91. That's what you should understand. CI is just amended portion of the proof of qualification. So the CI 126 is just about 2 pages. It only talks about proof of eligibility, proof of your qualification. The other issues about challenging who qualifies and all those things are still in CI 91. So there's just an amended portion. not the totality of the CI91. So you are going to use CI91 side by side with CI126. It's like the constitution that we have. What we said that as amended. So the amended is an addition to the constitution. Yeah. We have not thrown the constitution away. So the CI126 does not invalidate the totality of the CI91. So it's only the portion of proof of qualification that has been amended. So you cannot use CI126 alone unless you use it with side by side by the 191. So like I said, if you have the Ghana card, if you have a passport, and you have the two guarantors, and you go to the polling station, Article 42 of the Constitution says that you should be a Ghanaian not less than 18 years and of sound mind. So if I know that you are holding the passport, but you are not a Ghanaian, I can challenge you that you don't qualify to register.
So that if I have my Ghana card or my passport and I go to the polling station to register, and someone is bent on making sure I do not get into the book, he can raise the issue of me not being a Ghanaian, and I have to go through the process.
No process. You are already going to appear before the committee.
But this is not going to take 2-3 days, like you just mentioned.
Oh, the one that you appear before the committee and you have your evidence, just be appear and do. I'm a Ghanaian. These are my evidence. That's all. Yes.
If the person is unable to appear, it means automatically you've been disenfranchised.
Why wouldn't you appear?
You have other businesses to attend to.
Okay. When somebody says that you have stolen his cassava, then he goes to court and tell you have businesses to attend to.
Well, the minority in parliament is accusing government of deploying a huge military official group in the Volta region to intimidate, harass and prevent eligible Ghanaian electorate from participating in the upcoming voter registration exercise. The minority spokesperson on Defence and Interior, James Agaga, says such deployment intimidates eligible voters and actively participating in the registration exercise. He adds that the NDC will not allow such intimidations by the government to disenfranchise eligible voters. Addressing the press in Parliament, James Agaga said President Akufo-Addo should immediately withdraw the personnel from the Volta region.
We have also been informed that in addition to the deployment of military and other security personnel along those borders, some districts in the northern regions, namely the Upper East, Northern Region and Upper West, have also witnessed the massive deployment of military personnel. Now, the problem with the massive deployment of military personnel is that in a few days, we are going to commence with the compilation of a new voters register without any provocation whatsoever. The state has decided to deploy military personnel and platforms along our frontiers, which are also perceived to be the strongholds of the opposition NDC. Our take on the unprovoked deployment is that there is a certain scheme which is designed by government to intimidate our teeming supporters from coming out in their numbers to register. We wish to bring this to the attention of all well-wishers of our country and all peace-loving Ghanaians, that this recent wave of deployment of military assets and personnel along the borders in the Volta region, the OT regions, and the northern regions is uncalled for. As the minority in parliament, we think that these matters should be brought to the attention of all peace-loving Ghanaians and call on the president to cause to be withdrawn immediately the massive deployment we are witnessing along our borders.
Mr. James Agaga is also questioning why Parliament had been kept in the dark over this deployment.
In any case, a few days ago, the government's team on COVID-19 addressed us. They never mentioned anything relating to the deployment of personnel along our frontier in the Volta region and elsewhere in the name of protecting this country against COVID-19. So that argument from the regional minister is untenable. Question is, why was the deployment not done in March? In any case, do we need to deploy the military? We have the immigration, which is responsible for managing our country's borders. Unless, of course, the level of threat is beyond the capabilities of the immigration service. You don't deploy the military. We have been briefed. Why is it that in respect of this particular deployment, we have a parliament hasn't been briefed? We are totally clueless. They did this under the cover of darkness. We're saying that they should immediately withdraw them.
Well, there's a response to Mr. Ogaga. The Adanse Asokwa MP, Katie Hammond, says security officials are in the Volta region to control Ghana's border to prevent foreigners from participating in the upcoming national exercise.
The Togolese and the Voltarians, and when I'm talking about it's Volta region, I mean, there is the kind of, remember the history, Professor, if you guys know the history about this place, basically the same tribe. So they walk in, come, but they are not Ghanaians. And when they walk in there, they can do whatever they do. So I guess that is the reason for that. See, there's a classic example. You remember 2008, the second round? We had so much, 100,000 or so votes leading from Samils at the time of second round. The next round, one constituency, what's the name? Which one? No. Ketu South also, it cleared all the whatever we had. Where did they come from? You see, so everybody from whatever they came to vote. So this is what the whole thing is about. We want. There's no clear evidence to that. Well, that's what you say. There is, if those people voted, 35,000 or so at the time voted. The next one, everybody else on earth voted. Where were they coming from? So this is the whole issue. We want there to be sanity. The military is there to make sure that you vote if you are Ghanaian. You vote if you have the right, constitutional right in Ghana to vote. That's all there is. They are not electoral officers, but they are peace-keeping force. They are keeping the peace. The border is already shut. No. The whole strength of it, the flower is shut, but is the flower the only whatever. So the soldiers, the immigration, the police, they are just maintaining the peace, making sure that there's no infiltration. I mean, come on, let's be serious. What is the point in going through all that we've gone through to Supreme Court, all that, then allow a porous border for people to come through and then infiltrate, and then to infiltrate the register again? We would have been back to where we started.
Well, some residents in the border communities in the Ketu South of the Volta region allege that security officials deployed to enforce the border closure directive in the area are intimidating and physically abusing them. According to the residents, security officials now storm their homes, asking of their identity cards and abusing them.
Okay, how's life here?
We are suffering here. The way life day before, there is no where life day is now. Before we get food, we are suffering before we get food here. Before we get food, we enter Togo before we bring food back for our brothers, our mothers to eat. Now we don't get food to eat. So we need government to do something about this. We are suffering here too. So please, we beg. We need government to come and do something about this. Okay. Please.
Are you Ghanaian or you're
Yeah, I'm Ghanaian.
Okay, but you live here?
I live from here. I live available here.
Okay, but where do you work?
We are tied broom before we enter Togo, go and sell it. So sometimes we tie brooms, go and sell it from Togo before we are back. So now there is no work we are doing again. So we just deal like that.
Like Ghana, Togo.
I'm a teacher in Togo, but I have been in Ghana for a year now. Though the border is closed, we are still doing our best to continue living.
We do our business in Togo, but since the closure of the border, we are not able to go there. Now they have brought soldiers here because we will be registering on Thursday. Honestly speaking, it will be more difficult for us now. It is our prayer the government can help in a way, because some of our siblings also school in Togo.
Let's get on Zoom and speak to the regional minister, Dr. Archibald Letcher, who is joining me right now all the way from the Volta region. Sir, thank you very much for your time this evening. And the minority says this is a targeted approach to intimidate their members in the voter region and to stop them from coming out to register?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers, and thanks for the opportunity. We are the Regional Security Council are monitoring the situation. We have had problems, if you remember, that there were complaints that the borders in the voter region were porous. There were too many unapproved routes that enable people to come in. And if you remember very well, the first few cases of COVID-19 we had were imported into the country. And we have been spending a lot of money putting them under quarantine and feeding them. And we think that it is better not to let the illegal immigrants come in than for them to come in and then we incur unnecessary expenditure. So once in a while, we deploy military or extra security men to help us enforce the closure of the border. So as far as we are concerned in the voter region, this is something we have always done when we had security challenges along the border, because we have too many unapproved routes.
Okay.
And the borders are closed technically.
Dr. Lecter, if I will come in here, the border situation is something that we here at Joynews have covered extensively. And we did that several months back. Immediately after we did that, we didn't see this intervention happen. Why now? Katie Hammond, by the way, says this is for purposefully for the registration process.
Yeah, thank you very much. Sorry, I am not aware of that. What I know is that we requested for extra security at the borders. And about a week or two ago, we received some number of security men who have been deployed. We have had complaints about them intimidating people. We have investigated. And this afternoon, we had a press briefing in Go, where the Ministerial Chief Executive himself was present and gave us a report as to what was going on. So as far as I am aware, this is not meant to intimidate anybody. This is not supposed to interfere with the voter registration. In any case, the borders are closed. So if we enforce the closure of the border, which are closed in any way, so I don't think there's any problem. We are monitoring, take necessary action if we think it's okay.
I'll tell you what's happening according to what, I mean, the last time we did the story about the borders, we were in the upper west region, we're in the upper east region. These are border towns as well. And these are areas where people walk in and out from different countries as well. There is an Operation Cow Leg going on there. Why is this, what's happening in the voter region, so different from what's happening in other places? Because it started way back.
Yeah, there's no difference. The fact is that the borders are closed and we have security at the borders. And the securities are to ensure that the borders remain closed until otherwise directed. And I think that is all that is being enforced.
One question that the minority is asking is, why did you not do this in March?
So we have done, we've done this several times in the past. We've had challenges with the border, and we had to use extra security personnel to maintain law and order. And we've done this over and over again. This is not the first time this is being done. So I'm at a loss as to the reason why there are protests now. Maybe because it's close to the registration of voters, people are reading other motives into it. But as far as we are concerned, we are only enforcing the closure of the borders, which remain closed until otherwise directed.
So this has nothing to do with the voter registration exercise that is slated for Tuesday next week, as Katie Hammond is saying?
As far as we are aware, as the Regional Security Council in charge of security in the voter region, that is not the case.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Archibald Lecter is the voter regional minister there. He says, unlike what the Member of Parliament, Honorable Member of Parliament Katie Hammond is saying, that this deployment is meant to ensure that people who register in the upcoming voter registration exercise are Ghanaians. He says this is just simply about protecting the borders in the voter region. You're watching Joy News Prime. I'm Gifty Andopia. We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll be doing business with Sandra Esinamapenu, who is anchoring from home. You're welcome back to Joy News Prime. We're going home to Sandy, who has business right now. Liverpool baby. Hi, Sandra.
Hello, Gifty. I'm sorry for the technical problem we had in the beginning. I put it to you that you want to sit on my Liverpool happiness.
I don't want to.
All right, welcome to business. My name is Sandra Esinamapenu. The Canadian government is giving 32 competitively selected women farmer-based organizations 2.5 million cedi support to improve their products and to aid them penetrate the international markets. The fund sits with Global Affairs, Canada's Modernization Agriculture in Ghana program, which aims to strengthen the capacities of women in agriculture. My colleague Bismarck Awusa was at the launch of the pilot program organized by the Ministry of Food and Agriculture and has filed the following report.
The funding support is in line with Canada's Feminist International Assistance Policy, which seeks to foster women's competitiveness in providing good quality value-added products to local and foreign markets. The acting chief director of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, Robert Patrick Ankubia, believes the support is part of government's plans to ensure food security, especially in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic.
This program, as you have already been informed, is a very important one. An initiative that has come at the right time because, as we all do know, we are in the days of the COVID-19 pandemic and its effect the world over has actually been of great concern. Economies are being affected, economic activities have stalled, and in some cases are on the decline.
In an interview with Joy Business, Mr. Ankubia underscores the need for supporting women in agriculture.
They are all over the, the value chain in various aspects. And so therefore, if we marginalize them, then we do so at our own peril. That is why it is necessary that, we dedicate some funds to be able to empower them so that they'll be encouraged to continue to do what they do.
Representative of the Canada High Commission pledged the Commission's continued support to the country's agricultural sector.
This pilot aligns with the objectives of the Modernizing Agriculture program in Ghana, through which the Government of Canada provides 135 million Canadian dollars on budget support to improve food security and foster economic growth in Ghana. As many of us are aware, women play a very vital role in the agriculture value chain, yet they face numerous challenges along the value chain, from production to processing to marketing.
As part of the program, Gratis Foundation, an agency under the Ministry of Trade and Industry, will fabricate the equipment required by the women groups, deliver and install them for use. Kofi Ejay Intim is the chief executive of Gratis Foundation.
As part of Gratis's contribution to support government's initiative towards the agricultural sector, especially planting for food and jobs agenda, this project will go a long way to improve efficiency, increase productivity, as well as to reduce post-harvest losses to ensure food security.
The
women farmer-based organizations have lauded government for the support and are optimistic it will improve their productivity. Bismarck Awusa, Joy Business.
Away from that, government says its partnership with Custom Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority and Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited will help address revenue leakages. The move comes after years of revenue losses in the downstream petroleum sector due to malfeasance. Between 2015 and 2018, the country lost close to 2,800 million cedis in taxes and regulatory margins alone in the sector. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta says the initiative will improve revenue for the country in dealing with shortfalls due to COVID-19 pandemic. He disclosed this at the commissioning of digital downstream petroleum products measurement project in Tema.
The center is considered the nerve of the electronic metering management system. Prior to implementation of this system, in and outflow of petroleum products at the tank farms were recorded manually. This led to discrepancies in figures by stakeholders, leading to onward loss of more than 3 billion cedis in the last few years. The technology deployed is one of the very first on the continent and is expected to improve efficiency. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is happy the project has materialized.
All the pipes entering every depot are tagged, so you know exactly what is coming in, and all the pipes going out are also tagged, so you know exactly what the quantities are in. That then enables you to have numbers that are reconcilable, that everybody will accept. And in my speech, I did mention the differences of numbers that you are seeing between the MPA, GRA, and then the companies themselves. So we eliminate that, and I think it was about 2 to 3 billion cedis of losses. So we are really excited about this change, where we can now determine exactly and get the revenues that we want. And I think in the past 3 weeks ago, Cabinet also agreed that we set up a special committee to look at the mineral resources. Okay, so that is also going to be another area in which we are tackling because of all of this revenue recovery.
Commissioner General of Customs Division of GRA, Colonel Kojo Damwa, retired, says the new system is difficult to tamper with.
If in the past we've lost so much, the projection is that we are likely to lose more in the near future if we do not implement it. So I can say that we are likely to save more than we have lost by the implementation of this new system. Yeah, fortunately, this one is slightly different from those types. This has an alert inbuilt system, and it uses some scientific means that the slightest touch, it triggers, and we have monitors all over. So within real time, somebody will see the movement of somebody, the tampering and everything. And then we also have our officers who are positioned, who will be patrolling these areas from time to time. So even though people may want to, I think that the insurance here is that the system depends on a technology that is more difficult to destroy than in the cases of those devices for tracking of transit goods from one point to the other.
Meanwhile, General Manager of Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited, Christian Soti, says this system will end years of disputed figures.
There's always this confusion of which is the actual figure, and it brings that kind of suspicion and so on. So this project was conceived to have an electronic and IT solution to that problem, whereby there will be no human intervention, and the system will record what takes place in real time, so that products coming in are recorded and products going out are recorded. And because it's electronic and it's in real time, at the end of the period, the report that comes out, everybody can see it and confirm. So this is bringing added efficiency to what already is taking place.
Director of Entrepreneurship Development at the National Board for Small-Scale Industry, Habiba Sumani, is calling on micro, small businesses in the country to take the necessary steps in formalizing their operations by registering their businesses. According to her, this will make such businesses remain relevant and open up for government opportunities. She spoke to Joy Business at an event to mark the International MSME Day in Accra.
The day celebration brought together industry players, including the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, and some micro and small businesses to speak on raising entrepreneurs in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. According to Director for the Entrepreneurship at the National Board for Small Scale Industries, Habiba Sumani, business registration is an important step towards success.
Business formalization now more than ever is very important for micro, small and medium enterprises. And generally for any business, formalization opens doors to various things. In terms of access to market, being a formal business would enable you to get access to formal markets. It will help you to get access to even opportunities within the government and other organized institutional setup in terms of them procuring your goods and your services. And here we do encourage micro, small and medium enterprises especially to begin the steps of formalizing. First of all, if you are a sole proprietor or you are a one-man business solely doing your own operations or providing services, we encourage you to go to the Registrar General and register your business as a sole proprietor. Get your tax identification number, get some documentation that gives a recognition to your business.
Director of Micro Enterprises at the NBSSI, Kofi Anda, has been explaining the significance of the day.
Are playing roles to support MSMEs. Today was an opportunity for us to talk to SMEs, to bring panelists, experts, to talk to SMEs about what they can do to take advantage of opportunities that have arisen. Because as much as there have been challenges in the business environment, within those challenges, certain opportunities have also arisen. So today afforded the SMEs the opportunity to get some insights from experts, but also it afforded an opportunity for NBSSI to engage with the SMEs and to hear from the SMEs some of what the MSMEs, some of the challenges that they are facing, some of what they would, this kind of support that they might want to see NBSSI provide, NBSSI and its partners provide.
The NBSSI also used the opportunity to encourage entrepreneurs to take advantage of its support schemes in industrial growth.
And that will be all for the first part of business. But when I come back, First National Bank Ghana has appointed a new chief executive. Will be unveiling him when I return, and that will be after 8 p.m. But
away from sports, daughter of a woman who died at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital after alleged wrong medication, Daniela Kutu, says her mother hugged her and two younger siblings with a promise to return home before she left for the surgery. Husband of the deceased, who is the director of the Ghana Institute of Languages, Dr. Imano Kuto, told Maxwell Agbagba his wife was hale and hearty when she went to the hospital, but her condition deteriorated after she was allegedly given wrong medication.
I think that was when she was going. She was like, take care of the house. Then she hugged us and told us that she would be back, but she didn't come back.
That was when? That was
Sunday evening, before she left.
Daughter of the deceased, Daniela Kutu, narrating her last encounter with her mother before she left for a surgery at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital. Her mother promised to come back home after the surgery, but she never returned.
I think that was when she was going. She was like, take care of the house. Then she hugged us and told us that she would be back, but she didn't come back. I think it's just God who will take care of us.
It's God who will take care of you. And how have you been coping so far after you had the news?
I cried a lot yesterday, but I think I'm okay now. I have to be strong. If I cry, they're also going to cry. So I have to be strong as the oldest and then comfort them and then be there for them.
True. Okay.
Husband of the deceased, Dr. Imano Kutu, says his wife was healthy and had cooked for him and a friend before leaving home for the surgery on Sunday. He says she was not sick and had even suggested to her to wait and go for the medical procedure when the coronavirus pandemic is over. Dr. Kutu alleged his wife's condition deteriorated and later died after she was given some medication at the health facility.
I was there until the doctor came, a young man who came, and he came and went through the folder by the bedpost there, and then she asked the nurse what medication had been given, and so at a certain point, he said he didn't prescribe one of those medications. He didn't prescribe them. So there was, as I said, there was kind of back and forth, and then a second nurse came and said, "Oh no, somebody else." The mentioned somebody who obviously I didn't know. Somebody else has prescribed that medication. No, he was asking. They said, "What had they given her?"
Okay.
So when they said they had given this and this and that, then he said one of those things he didn't prescribe. So it was clear that he was the doctor.
Yeah.
So he said, "Who did this? I didn't prescribe this." So they mentioned somebody else's name.
Okay.
And he said right in front of me, "Okay, I'm going to call him right now and ask him." So after he put the folder down, and then he left back into the lounge, into the lobby, and I followed because I was concerned. I wanted to know what was happening. So I was right there when they picked the phone. He went behind the counter, picked the phone, and started talking to the other doctor. And within a minute or two, it was clear that the other guy, although I couldn't hear his voice, it was clear he had admitted prescribing that drug. And then this guy was calling him and said, "Why do you do that?" He said, "This is the second time you are doing this. The other case too was the same case, and you were told that this drug is not for this this purpose."
Well, the widower says 2 incidents here at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital confirmed his suspicion that his wife was given wrong medication. He says the first one was when a doctor here at this facility called his colleague and scolded him on the phone for giving his wife a wrong medication. He says his sister-in-law also bumped into a conversation between medical personnel here at this facility, and it was about the wrong prescription that was given to his wife. I'm here to meet the medical director of this facility, Dr. Yimano Sofenyo. He says investigations are about to begin to bring finality to the matter.
First of all, I want to use your medium to express our condolences, deepest condolences to the man and the entire family for this unfortunate loss. And I must say that this issue also came to our attention this morning when we also saw the post in social media. And immediately management has instituted a rapid investigation into the issue to gather as much information as possible about what happened. It is now that we are trying to put the bits and pieces together. And once that is done, there will be an in-depth investigation committee that will look into all the issues, the management steps, the medications prescribed, treatments given, and so on and so forth to determine whether the allegation is true or not. As we are here now, we don't have any concrete information. It's just an allegation. We don't have any concrete information as to what exactly happened until that committee does its work. And then when that is completed, we will share with the various stakeholders, and I believe the media will be apprised of whatever has gone on.
So when are we likely to see results for the preliminary findings and then the findings for the committee that we put in place to investigate this matter?
So I believe that by tomorrow we will have the preliminary, the rapid assessment. That will be done by tomorrow. We'll have some information, and this will be presented to the Ghana Health Service headquarters, and then they will then do an initial release of a statement, and then that will pave way for the in-depth investigative committee.
Maxwell Agbagba filed that report, and if you're watching us on Joy Prime, this is the end of the word for us for today. But of course, if you're watching on Joy News, there's more news when we return. Do stay with us. There was chaos at the Tema port as some leaders of the opposition NDC clashed with security officials. Leaders of the NDC, including former Trade Minister Dr. Ekos Piogabra and Isaac Adongo, said they visited the facility to engage frustrated freight forwarders. Importers complained that they usually spend few hours clearing goods from the port, but now they spend close to 2 weeks at the port, blaming the situation on the inefficiency of the new Unipass system, as they call it. My colleague Kwesi Parker-Wilson reports security men shoved officials out of the port.
Members of the opposition NDC stormed the Ghana Revenue Authority division at the Tema port. They said they had come to appreciate the challenges associated with the implementation of Unipass and also understand the impact on the business of importers and freight forwarders. Stranded importers accosted the NDC officials. The party then decided to listen to their concerns, which triggered a clash between the NDC officials and security personnel at the port.
You come here and you see a pack of freight forwarders around, all because they want to pick up something.
So the security personnel, the security officers have come to disrupt the issues and driving away the people. They're pushing all of us, and this is the situation. And of course, the freight forwarders are hooting at them. So it's a very chaotic scene here at the Tema GRA, the customs office, the revenue center. This is what is happening here at the moment. The security officers are not happy with the situation. The NDC came to have a quick conversation with the stakeholders to understand their challenges, but as they were engaging them, the security officials here have come to drive them away. In fact, disrupt the press conference. So the freight forwarders themselves are not really too happy with the situation. They are screaming and hooting at the security officials and have asked us to leave their premises and ordering all cameramen and of course reporters to equally leave the place. So this is the situation here at the Tema port at the moment, the revenue center.
MP for Bogatanga Central, Azika Dongo, and Dr. Ekospio Gabra charged the importers to fight for their rights.
That the operators of Unipass are doing everything to shut you up. Exactly. We are aware that when you hold your demonstrations, they take the pressmen to Nick Hotel. We are aware that the long room operation is back at the port. We are aware that cargo is now delivered manually and the state is losing track of warehousing of goods from the port. We are aware that you are not doing manual payments. We have come here to give you a voice. And when we go into the Maruna Hall, we want you to speak your mind. This nonsense will stop.
In the year 2020,
if they don't stop, the agitation that we have started today will be intensified. So we are here to assist you to fight the Unipass system.
That we want an efficient and well-managed port system. We had it before under the previous NDC government, and because of changes that this new government, MPP, have put in place, the port is not as efficient as it should be. That is the message.
The security then drove the NDC officials.
And with that report, now coronavirus kills 8 more people, taking the death toll to 103. The deaths include a 24-year-old female with no comorbidity. The details of the deaths are as follows. So death number 96, that's the 96th person that died, was a female. She was 36 years old, and she had no comorbidity, and this happened in the Ashanti region. The number 97th person who died was male. He was 37 years old. Comorbidity, diabetes, so he was diabetic, and this also happened in the Ashanti region. Death number 98 was a male as well. He was 56. He had hypertension, COPD, and he had the heart disease as well. It also happened in the Ashanti region. Death number 99. Female, 53 years old. She was diabetic, also in the Ashanti region. Death number 100 was female. She was 80 years old. She had cardiovascular DX, including hypertension. This happened in the northern region. And the 101 death was a female, also the youngest in this batch, 24 years old. She had no comorbidity at all. It happened also in the northern region. The 102nd death was a male, 55 years old. He had an alcoholic liver disease, and this happened in the eastern region. The final death number 103, was male. He was 68 years old. He had diabetes, hypertension, and first-degree heart block. Also happened in the eastern region. So 2 of them had no comorbidities at all out of those who have died. The latest figures in those who have died. Meantime, 6 patients are in critical condition, 4 are on ventilators, and 24 have severe cases. 361 new cases, by the way, have been recorded. It takes our active cases to 3,976. Recoveries are now standing at 11,755, whilst total confirmed cases are now pegged at 15,834. Still on coronavirus, media reports suggest the late presiding member of Oforikro Municipal Assembly in the Ashanti region died of coronavirus, but his family says they are yet to receive formal communication. It has been reported that William Kwabena Boateng, who died just a week after his medical director brother at Kwadaso SDA Hospital in Kumasi passed, tested positive for the virus. Spokesperson Samuel Amofakodia tells Joynews any further delay can impede contact tracing if indeed the man was infected by coronavirus.
Boateng passed in the morning of last Sunday when the family had gathered to observe 1 week of his brother, Dr. Harry Owusu Boateng's demise. Mr. Kodia describes as devastating the passing of the 2 brothers within a space of 1 week, and media reports on them as speculative.
Harry was gone. So we were there. I was there with my auntie and the husband. I was seated in between the 2 of them. Then I had the information that this is what has happened. So we quickly had to whisk them into their rooms to psych them up and broke the news. And it was terrible. A more terrible scene was to follow when we had to go and bring the late Willie's wife from their residence to Kwamo. And it was beyond me. Even though I am trained not to shed tears, but I could feel the pains within me. And when the wife came and she was told, it's not been easy. And you know, people will say COVID, but let's ask ourselves, how many of us have even tried to get closer to the family and console? But we are so quick to talk about, he died of COVID. This is the time we even need the assistance of a psychologist to psych the old man and the wife up. And the survivors, look, if you were there and you saw the way a manner Willie's mother-in-law, she was even crying more than the daughter, you will appreciate the extent, the enormity of our loss.
Mr. Kodia says the family has, unfortunately, been left in suspense due to delayed release of the COVID-19 test result. He wants health authorities to come clear the air on the matter.
We lost Willie on Sunday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 6 days now, nothing. So the media houses are speculating. We want Ghana Health Service, notwithstanding their tight schedule, to try and get over to us. Let us know if it is COVID positive. We have already lost a hero in Harry. If the COVID still wants to disturb us and is taking Willie away, we don't have any problem. But the uncertainty is what is disturbing us. If it is positive, they should let us know so that they start the contact tracing. Because people came, they have left for their various places of abode. Now you wait until 2 weeks or more before you come out with the results, by which time the community spread would have started. So we want them to act timeously, because if the event they don't do that, they will rather be spreading the disease and not you and I.
From Kumasi, for Joynews, Oiminteria reporting.
She lost one eye to a cancerous tumor, retinoblastoma, when she was barely a year old. This tumor, which was spreading to the other eye, according to her doctors, could have affected the other parts of her body. Though the cancer was curable, the Dani family couldn't afford treatment and surgery to save their little Maulum Ananevi Dena. But today there is a ray of hope. Maulum has undergone an intra-arterial chemotherapy, which is used to treat advanced eye cancers. Joynews' Beryl Ernestina Richter was with the family and medical team and has this report.
For about 6 months later, when she started, 7 months, when she started crawling and all, we realized that the eyeball doesn't look normal like the other one.
That is Joseph Ananevi Dina, father of 21-month-old Maulum, narrating how his daughter's condition started. This condition was later diagnosed as retinoblastoma by doctors at the 37 Military Hospital after several tests and assessments.
So the mother told me that she's now seeing a certain signs in her vision. So we took her to 37. So it was at 37 where she was diagnosed, and then the doctors said she has a retinoblastoma in the eye. So that's a cancer in the eye.
Salamatu Al-Hassan is Maulum's mother. She initially thought her daughter's condition was spiritual.
Initially, I thought my daughter's condition was spiritual, so I prayed fervently for God's intervention. When doctors told me they had to remove her right eye, I decided to trust in God.
Dr. Vera Adubia Isuman is the consultant pediatric ophthalmologist at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Her unit attends to many children with different eye problems. She says Maulum's condition is the most common cancer among children, and there is no known cause.
Retinoblastoma tends to affect the inside of the eye, the back of the eye. There's a film at the back of the eye that helps us to see. It works like a film in a camera that records the images. And retinoblastoma arises from this film, and it occurs in very young children. In fact, it is the commonest cancer that we see in children, and happens to be the commonest eye cancer in children that we see in this hospital. And worldwide, it remains the commonest eye cancer that affects the inside of the eye or the structures of the eye. The cause itself is not known.
Children with this type of cancer have to undergo a number of treatments and surgeries.
This child, the diagnosis was made at the beginning of the year. We removed the first eye in March. That was when the eye was removed. And then we realized that the other eye had a lot of the tumors in the second eye.
This definitely places a huge financial burden on parents and caregivers.
It was terrible. Actually, it's not an easy task when you realize that you gave birth to your child and she's having the two eyes, and then all of a sudden you are being told that the two eyes needs to be removed. But the only thing can be done also to save you at the latter part is this treatment, and that one too is not a small cost.
Fortunately for Maulum's family, relief has come. March this year, a team of Ghanaian consultants from the University of Ghana Medical School, the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, and Eurocare Advanced Diagnostics and Heart Center started performing the first ever minimally invasive method of surgery, known as intra-arterial chemotherapy, to treat advanced eye cancers in Ghana. This surgery is the first of its kind to be performed in West Africa.
This new treatment, we performed the first one in Ghana and in West Africa. That was on in April, 29th April is when we did that And then the second, we do it monthly.
On Wednesday, June 24, 2020, Maulom underwent the third phase of surgery required for her condition. Here is Dr. Benjamin Sarkodie, interventional radiologist at the Eurocare Advanced Diagnostics and Heart Center, explaining the need for this crucial surgery.
COVID, we put on hold a lot of elective surgeries and a lot of procedures. We know that it is again during this period that we are doing this landmark case. We are only doing it because it is an emergency situation. If we don't do it, there's a poor little child who is going to lose the sight and lose the eye or even lose their life.
Maulom is now taken to the theater for surgery to begin. The sight of medical equipment triggered a cry. The surgery begins. After about 3.5 hours, Dr. Benjamin Sarkodie, interventional radiologist at the Eurocare Advanced Diagnostics and Heart Center, and the team of medical experts from Kolebu Teaching Hospital finished the historic surgery in West Africa.
Today, here at the Eurocare Hospital, little Maulom, who was diagnosed with retinoblastoma, have had a procedure performed for her. This procedure, known as intra-arterial chemotherapy, is expected to give her a second chance to life and also improve her vision in the coming weeks.
Dr. Sarkodie explained the process.
So now what we have done will spare her some vision. She may not see so clearly, but at least she has some vision to do her activities of daily living and also even to go to school.
Maulom is fortunate to be the first child in West Africa to benefit from this surgery, which has come at no cost to her family. Beryl Ernestina Richter's report for Joynews.
Hello again, in time now to do more business. My name is Sandra Estin. I'm anchoring from home. First National Bank Ghana has appointed Dominic Edu as its first Ghanaian Chief Executive Officer effective Wednesday, July 1, 2020. Dominic takes over from Richard Hudson, who has served in this position since the inception of the bank 5 years ago. Mr. Edu was the Chief Executive Officer of the erstwhile GHL Bank, which was recently acquired by First National Bank Ghana. He has a wealth of experience in domestic and international finance, private equity, and entrepreneurship. Mr. Edu co-founded Ghana Home Loans, Ghana's first mortgage finance institution, in 2006. In June 2017, he led Ghana Home Loans through a transition to becoming a universal bank after obtaining a banking license under the name GHL Bank PLC. Mr. Edu is a chartered accountant with an MSc Economics degree from the University of London. He also holds bachelor's degree in economics from the University of Manchester. Away from that, just as several businesses are struggling, car rental firms are equally facing some hard times in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic. Our correspondent in Natalia Kwanzaa has been following up on some car rental companies in the Western region and reports at least 13 car rental companies in the region have lost close to 85% of their business from January to June this year. She has more details captured in this feature.
Has been the case with many sectors. COVID-19 has affected businesses, and the car rental business is no exception. My visit to most of these places in the Western region to assess the impact of the pandemic on the once vibrant business confirmed the fears of many. The car rental business is really suffering.
In the Western region, the pandemic has actually affected the car rental so well in such a way that we are losing revenue. I'm talking for the association as the president. The effect actually started from January, February, and then it got worse in March. Yes, so in fact, it's actually very pathetic. Losing revenue of about 70 to 90% cutting revenue. Because of this, some of our members in the association have to lay off some of their drivers, some of their workers to be able to run because no one is hiring their cars. And then
we in the Western region too, the car rental business came up a lot as a result of the oil companies. Now there's a drop in the price of oil. Even the oil companies themselves are laying off companies. They are cutting down. So this means that if you are hiring to them, they are returning your cars.
As you can see, these fleets of vehicles some 7 months back were running hundreds of miles, but you can tell from the state of the vehicles that it has been parked for several months. The owners of these places need not to tell their story.
Since March, April, it was none, zero. Let me say it is May, June that I've been seeing about 20% work coming once a while. Let me say sometimes a week you have one job or 2 jobs in the week.
For instance, laser-free car rental used to be one of the key transport service providers for the allied services providers of the oil companies. But now, Benjamin Ebokwenu tells me that the current turbulence in the oil industry, compounded with COVID, is affecting business.
It's bleak, aside COVID coming in, the oil industry itself is going through some turbulence, right? And so COVID comes in to compound the whole issue. So it's been very rough, I must say. We pray that it stops, but if it continues going at the rate it's going, I'm afraid we may not survive. As a business, we have lost some clients. Some of them had to return vehicles that are on contract. Directly has an impact on us. For even the vehicles that were on what we call open rentals, that is as and when basis. Once the airport was shut, automatically, were affected.
The car rental businesses started booming in the Western region when oil was discovered in commercial quantities in 2007. But today, most of them are considering a closure of their businesses due to the COVID-19 pandemic and the drop of oil price. In Athalia Kwanza, Joy Business, Western Region.
A Ghanaian fishing vessel with 6 crew members on board, which was reportedly hijacked by pirates, has been rescued. The vessel was attacked off the coast of Benin, according to news sources, but the latest update is that the ship and crew have been rescued and brought back to Tema. Director of Naval Operations, Captain Derek Atachi, has been speaking to my colleague Fred Dugo.
We shared information with the navies in the region, and then the ECOWAS multinational maritime coordination centers in Cotonou and Accra for prompt action. But about an hour later, we got information that the vessel was actually hijacked and some crew members were kidnapped. 6 crew members, to be precise, 5 Korean nationals, and then 1 Ghanaian national. Piracy in recent years, recent years, dating more than 10 years ago, has been on the ascendancy a bit. Just a couple of weeks ago, there was a suspicious attack in Benin. And about 2 weeks before that, the Nigerian Navy successfully rescued a vessel that had pirates on board. Currently, they are being tried. But I will say that it is a bit on the increase. I cannot put a finger on how often for me to say maybe it is so many times in a month or so many times in a week. But we have realized that it's been on the ascendancy. It will be difficult to quantify it, but I know it definitely has economic implications. Let's take this vessel that was hijacked, for example. It's registered to fish in Ghana waters as well as Benin waters. So it left to go and fish in Benin waters and it's been hijacked. It will mean that the fisheries industry in Ghana will be affected and thereby affecting the economy of Ghana. But then any piracy incident that happens in the region makes insurance premium to go up every time there's an incident. So in a region, the more attacks we have, then it means that the incident will go up.
MTN has sued the National Communication Authority over plans by the regulator to clip its rings of the company's near monopoly. MTN Ghana, in a press statement, said it was compelled to go to court because, despite largely encouraging discussions with the regulator, the NCA was still persistent with the plans. The CEO, Selom Ajadevo, called government's move unfair and said the decision to go to court was a difficult move and a last resort taken after months of consultation. The Ministry of Communication on June 9, 2020 announced that the telecommunications industry was facing glaring disparities and imbalances, which it said was unhealthy for competition. We'll be keeping an eye on this development and bring you an update in our subsequent bulletin. Time now to close the week in commodity markets. Serving you all week from home. Let's do this same time next week, and then also log on to myjoyonline.com/business for more business news updates. My name is Sandra Esinam, and congratulations to all Liverpool fans and celebrating moderation because COVID is real.
Welcome back. Let's go on with the news now. After losing in last week's primaries, the Member of Parliament for Kwadaso, Dr. Samuel Kwejo Nyama, has finished nursing his disappointment. He has now joined forces with the man who defeated him, targeting 90% votes for the party in the December polls. They will only need 1 percentage point above the 89% of the NPP recorded in 2016 to achieve that target. Dr. Nyama spoke to Joynews at the residence of the victorious Dr. Kingsley Nyako on a visit to congratulate him. Nanaya Jima has more.
In his victory on Wednesday's postponed constituency election over a disputed delegates list, Dr. Nyako called for support from his two defeated colleagues and their supporters.
I'm convinced and persuaded that it's me at the helm of affairs with support from my other competitors, Dr. S.K. Nyama and Mr. Vincent Menu. We will be able to work together in unity and in peace for the benefits of the constituents, the benefits of the region, and for the benefit of the nation.
Concession of defeat and congratulations from defeated candidates to winners over the phone may be a common practice, but it takes genuine love to step out to an opponent's home to do so. That's how Dr. Nyama decided to go about it. In a show of political maturity, together with key members of his campaign team. In short, he responded to call for unity to keep the governing party in power.
If we want to work together, if we want to project the party in the constituency, if we want to ensure Nana Dwako Akufo-Addo wins again, then it's better we close our ranks and forget about the past and forge ahead and build a strong force going forward in the elections in the future. And that's what I believe in. So if that is achieved, then I can tell you that 90.5% that I even set a target is even lower. We want to set a higher target because Kwadaso constituency, from my experience, everybody in Kwadaso is an MPP person. Usually, they vote against the party based on small misunderstandings. And that's why I've come here with my supporters to wish him well and to say we are ready to work with them.
Dr. Nyako, who was amazed by the gesture, accepted the challenge to win over 90% of ballots for NPP in December.
We have to believe that targets we set for ourselves are achievable. We will do our best. We do our best to see if we can achieve it. And I'm sure that if we all work in concert, Dr. S.K. Nyama supporting me with his team, Vincent Fupamano supporting me with his team, if we work cooperatively, I think we can defeat any opponent that comes our way. The bottom line is that we must work assiduously to ensure that Nana Addanko Akufo-Addo continues to be the president of this country.
From Kumasi for Joynews, Nana Ojima reporting.
The National Democratic Congress has scored the Akufo-Addo-led government 17% on the delivery of campaign promises made to the Volta region. The opposition party has stated that out of 17 campaign promises, only 3 had been delivered after the 3.5 years of the governing New Patriotic Party. The NDC Volta Regional Communications Officer Kafui Agbaleze indicated that President Akufo-Addo's failure to deliver on the promises clearly indicates he is not committed to, quote, marrying the region, as he touted during the 2016 electioneering period. He was speaking at a press encounter in Ho.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can all see from the Pretoria of failed promises by President Nana-Addo to the people of the region, it is evidently clear that the president is not committed at all to marrying the people of the region, as he has been touting, since his words are not backed by deeds, as exemplified in the many failed promises he made to the people of the Volta region. A promise of a large city modern theater in the region, President Nana-Addo failed on that. A promise of a landing site and a storage facility in Keta, President Nana-Addo failed on that promise to the people of the region. A promise of Keta Port, President Nana-Addo failed as well. One district, one factory. The president failed on it. $1 million per constituency. The president failed on that as well. I will be very, very charitable in my presentation. And with what I have done so far, to give His Excellency President Nana-Addo, with the promises that he has made to the people of the region, and what he has done so far, 17%. 17%. And I've been extremely charitable with this score, 17%, because out of the 17 promises and things that he has outlined in the manifesto for the people of the Volta region, it's only 3 that we say that there's something being done about it. It is very obvious the people of the Volta region, we believe, will turn out in their numbers to vote massively for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama for his unprecedented record in developing the Volta region.
All right, let's do Joynews Interactive now, and we go on Facebook, where we posted the story about the alleged medical negligence. So let's get on Facebook, find out what your thoughts are right now. So that's Maxwell Agbaba's story, and we've got a lot of views and a lot of reactions to it. Abna Mante says such doctors should be jailed to serve as examples to others. They are being paid to work and must be answerable to whatever they're doing. Everyone's life matters. The health sector has been negligent on lives for years. Lessons should be given to them. What's money reward to a deceased family? Our lives matter. Esther Ejane Ketia says they are going to lie and conclude the investigation in their favor. I really feel sorry for the widower, his family, and all who knew the deceased. Benjamin Kwesi says complacency and overconfidence. If you are a young doctor, please appreciate reading the folder. That is patient history. It doesn't belittle you in any way. We know the stress and the thinking that comes with a job. Condolence to the family and kudos to all hardworking medical practitioners. Solomon Chumampofo says the husband should call for independent autopsy. The hospital might come back with a report supporting the doctor's conduct. A lot of institutions always try to protect their employees when they are at fault. And Joshua Amezue says we are even afraid to go to the hospital because of fear that we will be killed by the same people we go for treatment. God save us all. This is so painful, he says. And Marian Danzel says, absolutely no accountability in our dear country. You dare not question a health worker. Very, very sad state of affairs. And final 2 comments before we go. There's still a lot more, by the way, but let me just take the final 2. Menk Dramani says people are beginning to lose confidence and trust in the management of Ridge and other hospitals in the country as far as health delivery is concerned. I think this is not the first time such reckless and negligence on the part of doctors and nurses has happened, and it goes on and on. But Ebi Aheto says when it's coming, it is doing. Some Ghanaian doctors, with their pride, they will never give the patients time to speak or seek clarification or anything. They must sit up. Mr. Man, sue them for killing your wife. So those are some of the messages there that we leave you with on social media, but there are more messages on there. If you want to take a look at the story or refer it to other people, by all means, go on our social media, our Facebook platform, and click on it. There's more news at myjoyonline.com. It's been a long week. I wish you all the very best. Make sure to take care of yourself, protect yourself, and make sure you remember and tell people coronavirus is out there. Our top stories this hour. Greater Accra Regional Hospital begins investigations over allegations of medical negligence leading to the death of a woman. The medical director is seeking more information, and we heard from a daughter of the deceased. And that's it for tonight. My name is Gifty Ando Apia. Many thanks for your time.